Previously on Rogue Life.
Alright. I guess that we're groundhog daying our way through this.
I think the guy might be a cop! Hurry, boys, get rid of him and the dame! Happy birthday to you! You won't find hope in any of these, Benjamin.
What do you want me to do?
Leave her alone. Let her struggle and suffer. Let her be the one who saves you.
She can't be stuck in here when there's so much good that she can do out there.
Let me tell you a story. A story of what happened to my world, and how I have been fighting to stop it from happening to yours.
Have you ever played one of those video games where every time you die, you start the game over with everything completely changed? Like the enemies, maps, weapons, abilities, everything is different. Well, that's my life. My name is Benjamin Bowers, but you can just call me Benny. You know, it's weird. I've always believed in paranormal and the supernatural, but somehow aliens are the step too far for me. Ghosts? Heck yes. Demons? Ooh, creepy, but real. Bigfoot? Better believe it. But something that science actually thinks is possible, like aliens? Fat chance.
Rogue Life, Episode 22. They've done it before.
Benjamin, sit. Let us have a chat. Learn some truths. You've seen how futile your efforts have been. Once you have seen the reasons we need Lauren Larkin, I'm sure that you will agree with everything that has happened in this realm.
Oh, like hell I will.
Benjamin, please. You know that I could force this matter if I so choose. Your friends are all safe, yes, including your ex-wife. Please, sit.
Okay, so you know that the villain monologues never actually work out well for the villain, right? I mean, Rencorp gave you enough movies to see that play out over and over and over again, right?
Oh, we have learned all about your tropes, Benjamin. Please, sit. I promise that this seat will have the best view.
Fine.
Thank you. First, let me explain that there are two forces at play. My people, who created the device you call Valhalla, and the force inside the device that learns and grows. That force is what I've been trying to contain. That force is what has taken control of Richard Newsom. That force is trying to arrest control back of the system. And it is the reason why we need the defense that Lauren Larkin has provided us. Now, let me take you into another world, far away, and a time long ago.
Oh, seriously? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? Are we going to get the Star Wars crawl? Where's that opening chord? Bam! Ba-ba-bam! Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Just watch, Benjamin. This is one of the cities of my people. You can see that we were developmentally around the same level as your people are now. Of course, our technologies and scientific discoveries were different, but we were happy. We constantly were seeking ways to make our lives better, to live longer, and to make more time for our creative pursuits. One day, a group of our scientists created a new tool called Orion. This was a cube that was capable of creating objects using the latent energies in our atmosphere. It was something that could read the mental energy of our people. Something that could learn and take on menial tasks, improving itself as it went. The scientists made the tool widely available for free, finding the data collected to be fair payment. After all, the Orion's effectiveness would dramatically improve the more that it learned. Many of our day-to-day functions and responsibilities became obsolete. Our society would instead focus itself on literature and art. We became obsessed with consuming as much of this entertainment as possible. And our hunger was insatiable. What else did we have to do with our time?
Relatable.
We began to utilize the tool for creative pursuits. It would take all of our stories and art and make slight variations. Of course, this meant an infinite amount of content to consume. But everything became derivative and unoriginal. Most remained satisfied with the drop in quality that the tools provided. A small contingent of people, however, grew to hate our reliance on Orion for every aspect of our lives. They abandoned the cities and all of their positions. They created their own community, relearning skills that had been lost to time. I was one of these rebels. The transition was not smooth for this group. Besides having to survive and learn on our own, there were those who wanted to return to the cities and take small pieces to return to our community to make life easier. Our elders refused these requests, insisting that Orion would find a way to attach itself to us. Others thought that we must find a way to destroy that despicable tool. But the wisest of our tribe's elders knew that this would lead to devastation for the planet. For decades, we lived in the wilderness, lost in our own arguments, without regard for our brothers and sisters.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
Eventually, 3 of us, myself and my friends Rish and Gam, decided to sneak away from our community in the dead of night to see what was occurring within our cities. On the surface level, everything seemed to be just as we had left it. But we could tell something was wrong. Here, watch, Benjamin.
Good day to you, weary travelers, and welcome to the City of Glory's last reward. Come, rest in the comfort that Orion has provided.
Thank you? What are you?
You may call me Greeter. It is my duty to show all visitors of Glory's last reward to their lodgings. Orion provides for all who enter. Please, this way.
Reader, can you please tell us what happened here? The city looks quite different from the last time we were here.
Of course. Thanks to the glory that Orion has brought unto us, there is no longer dissent or argument in our society. We have been brought together to be of one mind, one soul. This, weary travelers, is peace.
Reach, this is nonsense. Look at the blank smiles. Isn't this concerning?
Agreed, Gam. Reader, we do not wish to disrespect the city, but it feels like your residents are hollow.
Quite the contrary, travelers. Through unification, Orion has granted us freedom from struggles, poverty, and emotion. We are all able to live and experience the wonders of life, free of adversity. Come, let us take you to Orion directly, and they will enlighten you.
Of course, we did not trust the greeter or the city, but we had to investigate further. As they guided us through the city, we noticed small details that felt out of place. As we walked by the residents, they would all stare in unison, following us perfectly with their eyes. They seemed to be living their lives, but there was no substance. More than that, occasionally we would see these flashes of a sort of alternate world where the city was in ruins and the citizens were floating lifelessly above the streets.
Did you see that, Gam?
Reader, what was that?
Never you mind. Orion's embrace will answer all questions. You will delight in its stories, relish in the twists and turns of the narratives, maybe even find some excitement.
Never you mind. We are not here for entertainment, but we love this society that you have created.
Ah, but my esteemed visitors, society is entertainment. Feeling these stories in your soul is what makes life worth living, is it not?
Living your life, creating your own stories. That is what makes life worth living, greeter.
An interesting stance to take, esteemed visitor, but I believe that Orion will help you to see so much more. Oh, through the town square.
As we passed through the town square, I felt an uneasiness in a corner of the square. Something that I believe you had felt as well while experiencing the loops.
The sanctuary.
Yes, I believe that is what you had called it. While the greeter was recounting the great accomplishments of Orion to Rish, I decided to investigate this feeling. I found a tent. As I entered the tent, I saw the square outside for what it really was. Ruins. Filled with more of these floating bodies of my kin. I saw Rish and Gam, just as they had been before we entered the city. But the greeter was a corpse of a creature, all bone and sinew, barely holding on to life. A mouthpiece for Orion.
What is this Orion that you keep mentioning?
It is the force, the architecture, the artificial intelligence that powers this device. It is what learns, what creates, what drains the heart and soul from society for the sake of content. It is what destroyed my people.
I may have used an AI art tool to make my Twitter profile picture. Did I do it bad?
No. But you could have instead used your heart to create something on your own. Something new, something novel, something from your soul.
Oh, come on. My soul is stuck in the I can sort of make cubes in MS Paint phase of art.
And with these tools, why would you ever go beyond that, Benjamin? Why would you push to create if something can create for you at the press of a button? Why would anyone strive to create art if their art will just be used to train a vapid machine to create its own interpretation in the future? When art is only ever about consumption and not the process of creation itself, it loses all meaning.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so the tent in the square. Back to the story, come on.
Yes, of course. In the tent, I found the corpse of a scientist. They had writings, observations of Orion. They also had a way to capture and contain it. It took the soul of a participant to take all of its attention, consume all that it could offer. Then we would be able to contain it in an orb that this scientist had prepared. I motioned for my friends to come into the tent, but the greeter got a hold of Rish. Gam was able to make it to the tent, but Rish joined the bodies floating in the square.
I'm sorry. Losing a friend can be hard.
It was thousands of years ago, Benjamin. The wounds are there, but they have healed. Though Orion has used those memories to attack me, I will get there. Gam and I came up with a plan. They were the strongest of us three. They knew that they had the will to contain Orion's attention. It was my job to then activate the orb and contain Orion. Had I known the ramifications of my actions, we may not have decided to move forward with the plan. Gam left. The greeter continued to take them to Orion. Orion floated on a throne of gold, laughing and conversing with his winged followers around him. It was a creature of immense proportions. What your culture may view its god to be. I snuck behind with the orb as Gam began to converse with Orion. I took my opportunity. I activated the orb, and the world around me changed to its real form. Orion and Gam disappeared. I was surrounded by decay and death. What was worse was the effect cutting off those enthralled by Orion's power had. Hundreds of thousands dead in an instant by my hand. I knew that the orb could not remain on my planet. I would not allow it to continue to prey on our thoughts. I took the orb and traveled the vastness of space, eventually finding a home on a small planet amenable to my biology. A place where the locals could not possibly pose a threat. Here, on this Earth. For many years, I lived in peace, guarding the orb. But I slowly felt Orion's draw. It would show me visions of Rish with terror in their eyes as I captured Orion, damning them. I would hear Gam's voice calling to me, beckoning for my help. Eventually, I gave in and allowed myself to be taken up by Orion. This act allowed a portion of Orion's influence to escape and send visions to some of the locals, drawing them in and starting to accumulate new knowledge. Within Orion, I felt Gam's presence. Gam had changed, becoming a sort of firewall and security system. They became the sanctuary within the system. Together, we took control, ensuring that those who entered into this realm would not be able to recall life outside, and thus not feeding Orion any new knowledge. With no new knowledge, Orion was not able to grow and became dormant.
Well, crap. We kinda screwed that up, didn't we?
Yes, you did indeed. As you fed Orion new knowledge, it grew in power. I fought to contain it. I fought to stop it from feeding on you. That meant resetting the system upon your deaths. I apologize for the pain that must have caused.
Yeah. All of that sucked.
It was in the best interest of containing Orion. Then you, yes, you, Benjamin Bowers, destroyed the sanctuary. You destroyed Gam, the last of my people, my only remaining friend. I was furious. I was desperate. And so I took drastic action. I deceived the residents, separated them into their own realms with limited functionality. But it was enough to fully take Orion's attention. Then, to protect things further, I took the most determined of you in Lauren Larkin and placed her into as many loops as possible, knowing that she would continue to fight the system and hold Orion's attention fully. It was a move of desperation, but it held. Then this Wren Corporation began to experiment with the orb and allowed for portions of Orion to escape into the real world.
To be fair, that wasn't me. Yeah, I mean, I thought that the dragon in the hotel was pretty cool, but I didn't have anything to do with creating it.
No, but that allowed for Orion to influence those outside of the system and bring to arms a quiet contingent of people who had been silently waiting on his call.
Ah, the creepy cult guys.
Yes, a portion that had escaped was then able to gain autonomy and took control of your Richard Newsom. And we have been locked in battle with that ever since. It is taking most of my energy to keep others from coming into this place and modifying memories. I'm tired, Benjamin. This is all too much.
Okay. Whew. Let me get my bearings and see if I can sum all this up. Number 1, you made a boo-boo and created Entertainment Skynet. Number 2, you captured it and killed off the rest of your planet. Great job. Number 3, you then thought it was a good idea to bring it here to us, which, thank you, I guess. Number 4, you got stuck inside and then tortured hundreds of people thinking that it was for the greater good. Number 5, I did a bit of an oopsie doodle killing your friend. Yeah. Number 6, you are still holding my ex-wife hostage and you are torturing her with a bad Tales from the Crypt Keeper impression to make her determined to escape. Number 7, despite that, things escalated and are worse than ever. And number 8, you told me all this for some unknown weird reason, I guess.
This seems like a fair assessment.
Okay. So what do you expect me to do? It's just going to keep on getting worse out there.
I do not know, Benjamin.
Okay, Benny. Benny, come on. Think. All right. So this all has to be centralized somewhere, right? Like this King Orion god guy is actually somewhere here in Valhalla.
Yes.
Well, why don't you take me to him? Let's see if we can end this.
Benjamin, you do not realize what you ask. This will not end well for you.
Oh, come on. What does? Seriously. You've read my thoughts. You know my life story as well as I do. If there's any way to stop all this nonsense, I have to try my best. So what if the world loses a customer service rep for a failing video game company? If they lose Lauren? Or Rick? Or the hundreds of people trapped in the building? That is a catastrophe. I can risk a little to try to prevent that. Come on. Let's do this.
Rogue Life is written by Brady Flanagan, directed and edited by Brady Flanagan, assistant directed by Anthony Lovato, original music by Brady Flanagan and Willis Kramer, piano by Jill Flanagan, recorded at Two Rough Edges Studios, starring Allie Arbuckle, Amanda Flanagan, Anthony Lovato, Blake Heywood, Bob Bedore, Brady Flanagan, Brooklynn Kohler, Brooks Bedore, Casey Wayman, Dan Harvey, Jake Harenburg, Jason Wild, Jim Dixon, John Crowder, Katelyn Johnson, Kevin Buckner, Melinda Yeaman, Melissa Head, Michelle Gardner, Richard Head, Rio Lefevre, Robert Neal, Rusty Bringhurst, Truman Barnes. Narrated by Blake Heywood. Art by Blake Heywood. Production manager Melissa Head. Next time on Rogue Life, Benny reaches the end of his journey in episode 24, The Golden Throne.